once again. Welcome to the part 2 interview session with the Right Honourable Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Last week it was all about Nigeria at 64, but today on the program we'll be looking at the state of the nation. So many things is facing at their country, Nigeria now, and some people are of the opinion that Nigerians are in a rush, and of course they are not being patient with the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have somebody with us this evening, one of those who campaigned vigorously for the emergence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Is no other than the Right Honourable Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. It's a pleasure to have you once again.
Thank you, sir.
So, continuing from last week now, we're shifting gears now from Nigeria 64 to the state of the nation. As a true Democrat, as someone who is very close to his people at the grassroots, looking at the state of the nation, in particular our standard of living and the state of the economy, how does it make you feel?
Well, I think it's so bad, feel terrible, particularly when you hear people who are so close to you complaining bitterly. So at least as a human, you have to accommodate their observations and complaints. So I think it has been a very difficult issue that we need to address. But in saying that, the good thing we have to say is for them to exercise patience. What we have now cannot be put on the current administration. It's something that has been in existence in the last 8 or 16 years. You know, economic burden does not start in a day, and you cannot fix the impact on the same day. It is kind of effect that grows like a tumor naturally. In feeling the impact, then I'm sure people will want to believe that it is the current administration that is responsible, but no.
Well, government is a continuum.
Yeah, it is. You inherit the good and the bad and the ugly. Fine. But the fact is that if you know the truth, then you need to establish it. When you know the truth and you are running away from it, then you are not being sincere. I'm not saying this because I'm a member of APC, I'm a speaker of APC. I'm not the speaker of APC, I'm the speaker of the state generally. And the current administration at the center has to do with it. I'm not saying that. We are saying the fact, what to be done. We are all feeling it. We are all feeling it. But all we are saying is that we need to exercise patience. That whatever we are feeling now, the reason behind it has been in existence before now.
But when you say that, okay, the current president campaigned vigorously for the former president, who is a member of your party. And so it cannot give us any excuse now that, the past administration.
But it doesn't work like that. Our people will say, "Omba your washing, omba your share." I can only secure employment for you. I cannot work on your behalf. When you are given an employment, it's your duty and responsibility to exercise whatever assignment that has been given to you. Fine, we all campaign for the last administration before the current one, but that does not mean. And if you listen to Asiwaju's campaign, then he said truly he was involved, but he did not take any contracts and or appointments. So when you are not involved in the system, so what contribution do you have? And you can only supervise what you have knowledge of. If you don't have knowledge of anything, how do you supervise it? So you just have to say the fact. But what we have now is beyond economic situation. We must consider the interests of political enemies. The rates, the intents of agitation is beyond natural response of the people of Nigeria.
But the people are hungry.
We are all well, I don't want to use the word we are all hungry, but the fact is that if people are hungry, fine, they have right to say so. And why? Because of the inflation. And the question we should ask, what informed the inflation?
Removal of subsidy.
That is secondary.
Which is the primary?
Agriculture. Where do we have the farmers? In the bush. You talk about the north, you talk about the west. What is happening to them? We have issue of Boko Haram. We have issue of kidnappers.
All right, we need to go on a very short break now. When we come back, we'll be focusing more on the rate of inflation in the country vis-a-vis the state of the nation. We'll be right back. You're still watching the Pendulum on Lagos television. Once again, our focus of discussion this evening is the state of the nation. And our guest once again is the Right Honorable Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Before that break, you were going to highlight some points as regards the rate of inflation in the country.
Yeah, thank you. I was saying, inflation, did it start now? Did it start last year or year before last? As you claim that we have 36 for something, is it magic? Does it happen suddenly? Then, which means we have to go back and look at the genesis. And as I've said earlier on, that there's no magic anywhere that can turn economic situation of any given nation suddenly. So this thing has always been with us. With the past administration. And you say, well, governance is all about, continuing. Yes, what do we call it? You inherit
the
both
liabilities.
the positive and the liability and the, what is it called? The profit aspect of it. But in changing it, it takes time. That's all we are saying. You said people are hungry. What informed the hunger? That's the question. What does inflation has to do with hunger?
Isn't that why we elected who we elected as our president?
I agree with you. And I know where you go to is that when the kitchen is too hot, check out. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've just mentioned it, said it, that our farmers producing what we eat. What is the problem? That's the situation we should look at.
The welfare and security of the people is the business of the government.
It's the business, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what they are doing. Mind you, it's a problem that is being inherited. And it's not something that is just happening. So if it's a new thing, we can now hold the current administration responsible. When you inherit something, what do you need to do? You need to look at this and address it and provide solution. Something that has been in existence for more than 10 years during Obasa. Mind you, Boko Haram issue started when? Since then. How many years ago? Almost 20-something years ago. How can you provide cure just in a year? Except if you don't want to be sincere. And that's why I said, what is happening? The noise, the cry, the momentum has nothing to do with people, but from political opponents.
Okay, even if we are saying that the people should tighten their belts, the quality of life of our political class at the federal level is a sharp contrast to what the people are feeling.
How do you know that? Have you mentioned that? Do you know what they are going through as well?
In terms of hunger.
That's what I'm saying. Hunger is not limited to food only, intake. It's not. It's not. You have so many other things.
You know, we have money to buy private jets, to buy vehicles for the First Lady, to buy vehicles for members of the National Assembly.
How many have been identified now? How many out of the ministers, the senators, the House of Reps that own private jets? Tell me. Me, I've been here for almost 20 years. I still live in Agege. I don't have private jets. So it's not, you know, people have that liberty to talk, to speak, to say whatever they believe in. In reality, what they are saying, is it true? Can we confirm it? I agree, I identify with people because I live in the midst of the people. I agree, we need to look at this and address it. Food is very important. Even from the Bible and the Quran and everything, the major thing is all about food, shelter, and clothes. Even the economists, Adams, or what do we call it? Yeah, I think his name is Adams. That's economic textbook that we read from Kenny Adams. It was all about shelter, food, and this. We should look. We want to urge federal government to make sure we have this in abundance. It is very essential. We cannot close our eyes to that fact.
Okay, do you think Nigerians are in a rush? And do you still have the confidence that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to deliver?
I have no doubt in my mind. I have no doubts. He has done it before, and I strongly believe he's going to do it again.
But Lagos is not Nigeria.
It doesn't matter. When you have the capability to act, no matter, even when you are taken to the moon, you will still perform. I'm very, very, very optimistic about that. And I strongly believe in him that he's going to deliver. Forget about size of Nigeria, forget about everything. But it's not about an individual. Actually, it's just an individual. It's a kind of a collaboration that we all have to ensure, all of us, that it works. If Asiwaju is operating at the center, let Sanwo-Olu operate at the what is it called?
At the state level.
Let Dapo do the same thing. Let my friend Sheriff do the same thing in Delta, and my friend in Neboye, Francis, likewise every other person, including local government chairman. But the question, why do we concentrate on the center? Why do we fail to look at the local governments?
Because it's the center that gives carrots to the states and
it's
subnationals.
not carrots. When you say carrot, it's just a kind of single item. What we have at the local government goes beyond carrots. It's more than what you can use to create life, development, success. So we should beam our light on local governments beyond the center and the states. In Lagos, we don't collect money from the local government. We don't share money with them. So it's because they have been left in isolation. We have been left in isolation. Nobody cares about local government. Nobody wants to talk about local government. And that is why we are so blind to what has been happening in local government. But with the recent development and situation, we should also beam our lights to that area so we can see. When the center, we're talking about center, the center disburse the money. How can you ask me to explain the money I did not expend? Is that what we are saying? Nigeria is not good. There is pain, there is hunger, there is this. Whereas the money in my pockets, I had already disbursed to every component. So why are you now questioning me to come and explain? Why don't you ask the people who receive the money?
All right, talking about the people who receive the money, that's a very big question coming from the Right Honorable Speaker. We'll take another break at this moment to bring you the soundbite of the week. When we come back, our conversation will continue.
Rather than look at only the anti-corruption agencies for solutions to these mandates, I believe it is in our enlightened collective interest to close banks and aggressively tackle this common enemy. It is on this note that I want to thank the leadership of the National Judicial Institute (NJI) and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) for initiating this year's seminar for prosecutors and judicial officers.
It behoves us to ensure that our decisions reflect an understanding and appreciation of the dynamics of the economic and financial systems as well as global best practices in this regard. Accordingly, the importance and necessity of capacity building programs such as this cannot be overemphasized.
We are moving towards the final lap of this special interview with the Right Honorable Speaker. Okay, before we go on the program tonight, let's look at our lawmakers, the legislative arm of government. You mentioned something very key the other time, that we should look at a particular arm of government as an institution and not as an individual. Do you think our legislative arm has done enough to strengthen our democracy so far?
It depends the question you are asking. If you are talking about the center, states.
Let's look at the center, then we'll come to the states.
Well, I think they are making progress. Sincerely, the National Assembly, particularly the last assembly, I think they are making progress. For them to have amended the Constitution and giving more powers to the states, I want to commend them. Particularly their effort in strengthening democratic institutions. The autonomy, legislative autonomy, mind you, was done during the Ninth Assembly at the center. The judiciary autonomy, same thing. So just kudos to them, if nothing. And the interpretation of that is that when you empower an institution, you have granted an independence for such institution to operate naturally. So with that, and at the twilight of that Ninth Assembly, they did the railway, they did the power, electricity, and so many other things. So we must commend them. It shows that we are making progress. Mm-hmm. The National Assembly, I want to commend them. I just hope the current National Assembly will build on the success of the last National Assembly.
Let's come to Lagos State now. We have seen that year in, year out, the relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government is always cordial. What is responsible for this?
Cordiality is all about understanding, as well as in the interest of the people. Where you have kind of division and misunderstanding between arms of government, it will affect the lives of our people, naturally. So confrontation is not the solution. It is a kind of understanding where working together is the primary assignment that can create progress in whatever consideration you want to look at. When you talk about infrastructural development, human development, any other economic development and other, there must be understanding between the executive, legislature, and judiciary by extension. So, but in all, that does not mean it is rosy. We still have our issues that we have learned how,
To manage.
to manage it.
Okay, you are one of the oldest lawmakers in state houses of assembly in the country. How has the experience been for you, and how has it shaped your perception
It's
when it comes to
disturbing.
lawmaking?
It's disturbing. Sincerely, it's very disturbing. It's very disturbing and painful. Painful because when you have houses of assembly where they have to go to the executive cap in hand, it's not a good thing. And what we have in some states now, we cannot claim that we have democracy. Because where you have absence of the legislature, then you cannot claim you have democracy. So in many states in Nigeria, we cannot claim to have democracy. And even where we have the presence of all elected members, what has been their contributions to the development of that state? How do we know that it has not been a one-man show? When some speakers cannot even ask questions. Talk less. I was once chairman of a conference of speakers. I had a relationship with many those who have left and current. So I know what I'm talking about. And that is why I just want to appeal to the National Assembly, the current National Assembly, and by extension, Mr. President, to strengthen the state houses of assembly. Is very important.
Okay, as we wrap up now, what will be your message for Nigerians regarding the state of the nation?
I just want to appeal to them to exercise patience. And they should not see those representing them, either in the legislature nor the executive, as being those who are enjoying whatever they assume. But we are all working together. We are all searching for the progress of the nation. And when we work together, we can always provide solutions. And most important thing, those who have been, pronouncing unemployment, it's very difficult for me to believe. In my growing up, there's nothing that I have not done. Even when I had parents sponsoring me, feeding me, but I choose to be enterprising. And when you go to developed nations, when you go to Europe, you go to anywhere, the same thing happens all over, Go to Mr. Biggs, go to IHOP, go to anywhere. You see young chaps walking all over. But do our youths here in this country want to walk? And many of them that had the opportunity of traveling, we do watchman, cleaners, any other. Why do you stay away from it in this country? When your father is not rich, you must cure your aspiration. Your father is not Dangote, not Odetola, not Tinubu, not anybody, and yet you don't want to work anywhere less than a bank or a company. It doesn't work like that. You have to start somewhere, and gradually you will grow. So I think that is the message we should be sending to these young ones.
All right. That's the show this week. We thank you very much for watching. I'm Ajibola Ojoshola. Bye for now.